Hi, I'm here with James from Communities Empowerment Network. Can you give us a little indication of what your typical day is like at Communities Empowerment Network?
It typically involves fielding telephone inquiries, mostly from parents whose children have been excluded from school, either on a permanent basis or a fixed-term basis.
Why would they be ringing your organisation?
Well, because we provide advice, support and representation for parents whose children are at risk. Parents whose children have been excluded from school or are at risk of being excluded from school.
So that must be quite a... you must deal with quite a lot of emotional phone calls.
Yes, absolutely, a lot of the time.
What's that like for you? How do you feel?
It's difficult. It's difficult. I don't always know how to respond when they start to cry. Sometimes they do. They don't always do it. But that's the most of the time they're mentally stable and they're fine and they can describe what's happened. But sometimes they do break down and cry, and it's difficult to know how to react.
Going back to June 2017, I've got 5 grandchildren. One of them is, well, at that point was a 14-year-old. He's special educational needs. He went to a junior school for SEN and went on to SEN school. Only 84 boys on the roll, and they have a small boarding unit, and he had been boarding just for a couple of months at his desire, just to see how it was. So he was new into the school. He had been there 4 years. A new mistress came to the school, not a teacher, not trained, but for whatever reason she didn't take a particular like to the grandson, and she orchestrated an exclusion that became a permanent exclusion. Quite rightly, schools have rules, and one of them he broke, and he had a 5-day exclusion. When it was the reintegration meeting, I think they called it, when my daughter and partner went with the child to that meeting expecting to return to school that day, he was met by 4 adults present in the room, and instead of going through the error of his ways and apologising for what he'd done, he was told that other things had come to their notice and that he wasn't going to be allowed back into school that day, and the headmaster would be in touch. So end of June ran into July, and then we're up against 6 weeks school holidays. I wasn't present at the meeting. I don't have parental responsibility. That is my daughter's and her partner. But what I was being told, I just didn't feel was right. On the first exclusion letter, Coram is mentioned, a charity called Coram. We went to them. They were very helpful over the phone. They guided us, but eventually said that they couldn't take the case on, by which time we rolled into about September, I suppose. And your name came from them, so that's how we first got the link up. And my first phone call to you on my daughter's behalf, because she's got 3 children, so obviously she's not as free and able as I am to conduct things. We got a phone call through to you in about October.
I'm a parent myself. I've got 3 children, one of whom's disabled, and I've seen firsthand the impact of discrimination. And I've also seen the impact when a school is inclusive and when a disabled child is very well supported and enabled to be included. So I do my job because I want to see every child, every young person, regardless of their label, their ability, to be included and welcomed, so that our society ultimately is a welcoming, inclusive society.
So then SEN, I'm a great one. Through my own career, I am a detailed person, I am methodical. I had written down everything of phone calls, letters, all the rest, and gave that to CEN. And when they saw the case, they said it was one that they could run with. And within a very short while, probably less than 2 weeks, we'd been appointed solicitor and advocate. and we started email, phoning and meeting.
I am the Special Educational Needs Education Advisor and Advocate at CEN. I only work with children and young people that have a special educational need or are disabled. I've been working with CEN, Communities Empowerment Network, for 4 years now. I work part-time, and I'm the only SEND advocate at CEN. That's not to say that other advocates don't work with children and students who have a special educational need or disability, but it's my primary specialism.
I could definitely recommend volunteering for CEN. I found it to be very interesting, as well as giving me a source of employment. It's also been very educational and very enlightening into issues surrounding exclusions, talking to parents over the phone, learning about the education system. I've learned a lot, definitely. It's been a learning experience.
It probably took 6 months of my life. I gave a lot of time to it. To have a child who is very young for his age, is vulnerable, has ADHD among other things, to be a 5-day boarder to suddenly full-time at home, and mother trying to get on with life for brother who was then 11 and a 4-year-old. Very tough, very tough. And it's stigma as well as everything else. It's trying to keep that child engaged and entertained, that he's not disliked. It breaks down friendship groups. It did a lot of harm, apart from the education that he was getting none. He needed every drop of education. He cannot read, he cannot write very well. He is now 16, and I think it had lasting damage. I feel very lucky. I almost feel that we chanced on CEN. It was a chance remark by somebody down in Surrey on the phone to me, and I jotted it down. And I went with that, but my daughter on her own wouldn't have done it, and nobody else has heard of it. And no, it was chance and it was luck, and thank God for CEN, what I say. If you feel something's unjust, it's not fair, if your gut reaction is that your child is being served poorly, go to somebody who knows the law. Look it up on the website to begin with. Google is a marvellous thing, even for ladies like me. And once you get that, you get your quote and run with it and find somebody who can be your advocate. And just be aware that it's not always going to cost. It's not only rich people that can get the rights for their child, that thanks to charities, there is help out there.